I found everything you need to know for Shrek 5 so you don't have to. Hello, citizens of the internet, I'm the hero you never knew you needed. And today, Shrek 5 has been on my mind after my recent rewatch of Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, so I decided to get all the inside details for you for the next Shrek sequel. Let me know if you are ready for Shrek 5 in the comments below. Now, get those waffles ready and clean that earwax out of your ears because it starts now. More than a decade has passed since the last venture into the whimsical realm of Far, Far Away, and fans are still holding their breath for the highly anticipated return in Shrek 5. The year 2001 marked a huge shift in animated cinema with the arrival of Shrek, a beautiful fusion of adult humor and child-friendly charm. This cinematic marvel defied fairy tale conventions, introducing an ensemble of characters that shattered tropes, all set to an infectious soundtrack while having a heartwarming message of self-discovery. The saga continued with Shrek 2 in 2002, followed by Shrek the Third in 2007, and then Shrek Forever After in 2010. Though Shrek 5's announcement reverberated in 2016, the years since have been shrouded in silence regarding its development, leaving eager audiences yearning for the return to Far, Far Away, especially for fans like us that have grown up with the Shrek series. Though still currently in development, the fifth installment in the popular DreamWorks franchise has had a difficult time. Fans of Shrek will be excited to know that Shrek 5 is still happening, and despite alterations in direction and storylines, it seems to finally be coming out of the ever-dreaded developmental hell. The success of Puss in Boots: The Last Wish has reignited interest in the Shrek franchise, with the acclaimed spin-off movie teasing more adventures in the land of Far, Far Away. After such a long wait, Shrek 5 could prove to be the most exciting installment of the franchise that helped put DreamWorks on the map as a powerhouse of CGI animation, as Shrek himself would say.
Better out than in, I always say.
And by it, I mean Shrek 5, of course. So what is the latest news on the next Shrek chapter? Well, Shrek 5 finds itself in a swamp of challenges, with the first being the looming question mark over Cameron Diaz reprising her iconic role as Fiona. Diaz has been a cornerstone of the franchise since its inception. She's the love of Shrek's life, the one who turned his world from ogre-whelming to ogre-joyful, see what I did there, and the mother of his little green rascals. Yet, since her last on-screen appearance in 2014's Annie, Diaz has been as elusive as the pot of gold at the end of a rainbow, supposedly retired from the limelight. While Diaz is set to resurface alongside Jamie Foxx in the upcoming movie Back to Action, it's like trying to catch a unicorn, a rare and fleeting event. Reports suggest that even this venture has her eyeing the exit sign, potentially propelling her back into the arms of retirement. While recasting in an animated movie can be less jarring than it is in a live-action project, the absence of Diaz in Shrek 5 would be so hard to ignore. Hopefully, if she is done with acting, Diaz would decide to make an exception for a voiceover role that brings her back to perhaps her most beloved character. So will Fiona grace our screens once more in the sequel? That, my friends, remains an enchanting mystery worthy of the most cryptic fairy godmother. But what about the rest of the cast, you might be asking? Will the beloved original voices return to give Shrek 5 its signature magic? Well, Mike Myers' recent remarks on the matter are a symphony to fans' ears. His words aren't accompanied by a concrete release date, but they resonate with an eagerness that could power a dragon's fire. Myers hints at an unquenchable desire to dive back into the world of Shrek, vowing to return every year if the stars align. With Eddie Murphy and Chris Meledandri adding their hearty endorsements to reunite the dream team of voice actors, it's like a potion of pure joy for Shrek fans everywhere. The prospect of hearing those familiar voices breathe life back into our favorite fairy tale characters again is enough to make even the most sad ogre crack a smile. Since Shrek 2, Antonio Banderas has delighted fans with the character of Puss in Boots, and with the success of his own spin-off series, he believes it's time for the swashbuckling feline to return to the Shrek universe that started it all. Banderas is one of the latest cast members from the franchise to give fans a potential Shrek 5 update, and given the critical acclaim for Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, the fan base is still loyal and anxious to see where Shrek 5 goes with its storyline. Chris Meledandri's confirmation of Shrek 5's development came as part of a wide range of announcements and teases that he gave during his interview with Variety, including information on Sing 3 and Secret Life of Pets 3. One of the most interesting tidbits for Shrek fans is that he seemingly teased that Eddie Murphy's desired Donkey spin-off movie could happened, saying that the character could carry their own movie without question. That movie would easily be one of my most anticipated when it gets going. I mean, Eddie Murphy's iconic donkey getting his own movie? Sign me up for opening night, baby. So when could we expect to see Shrek 5? Initially, 2020 was the target, a year ripe with promise, but production wasn't expected to start until then. Thus, the wise bet was on a 2022 debut. Alas, the curtain stayed drawn as Hollywood faced its own hibernation in 2020, leaving Shrek 5's production in a state of suspended animation. To salvage the grand spectacle, the release date walks further into the future, making room for other animated DreamWorks movies. Since then, the calendar pages have remained unmarked with the release date. It's looking more likely that if the new Shrek movie doesn't even begin production in 2023, it will mean a late 2024 or 2025 release date for Shrek 5 at the earliest. But what could a Shrek 5 movie actually look like? What kind of story could this sequel have that would still be enjoyable for us older Shrek fans, while also introducing some newer Shrek fans? The writer of such acclaimed comedies as Boss Baby has had a Shrek 5 movie and script ready for the last several years. Michael McCullers has mentioned the franchise a few times in interviews for his other popular franchises, although he stated very little about the actual plot. In an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, he explained that the script remains personal and means a lot to him, acknowledging that at this point, the script is more than a few years old, and it will most likely need to go through revisions, especially since so many members of the creative team have probably had to change. This has me excited to see what kind of story he has for us fans. But until then, how about some story theories? Though he might be one of DreamWorks' best characters, Shrek was an angry ogre who preferred to live in his swamp and shun social interaction until a talking donkey persuaded him to go on a quest to save a princess. In a twist of fate, he morphed into the poster child for anti-hero greatness in the 2000s. Once he exchanged vows with Fiona and had a family, it seemed that even ogres could live happily ever after. Yet, as the whispers of a new Shrek tale emerged, one question I had was, what could break the peaceful tranquility of their lifestyle in a new Shrek movie? What would make for a good sequel? Teenagers. Shrek 5 could focus on Shrek and Fiona's hectic life raising a bunch of teenagers. If they're even half as stubborn as their parents, their antics will no doubt make for highly entertaining cinema. That, however, is just one storyline this movie could have. There's another one that could either be good or bad for us Shrek 5 fans. Despite 4 prior films, Shrek 5 is rumored to not be picking up where Shrek Forever After left off. Instead, it could be its own standalone adventure that would be connected to the series. In an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, writer Michael McCullers explained that it's got a pretty big reinvention behind it, that he can't reveal, but seems like it could trend into reboot territory. It could be difficult to imagine a reboot of the franchise, especially if a new cast was assembled to portray the beloved characters. Yeah, I don't think us fans would like that very much. But if it is a standalone film that only features the characters in cameos and instead tells a different story in the kingdom, that might be more acceptable to us longtime fans. Similar to how they did Puss in Boots, we could see multiple spin-offs from this series. We already have confirmation that Donkey is getting his own movie, so why not other characters in the kingdom? One could be Shrek's kids, another about Gingy the Gingerbread Man. Heck, there are so many fairy tale characters that DreamWorks could reimagine, like they did with Goldilocks and the Three Bears in The Last Wish. Whatever decision the creative team decides to make with the next story in Far, Far Away, I know my anticipation is building with each passing day. How about you? So are you excited for Shrek 5? What other stories in the Shrek universe would you be interested in? Let me know in the comments below. And until next time, I will see you at the movies.